Alright, so the battery died. Still getting used to this whole camera thing. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, just a dabble, do ya? Thread locker. I was going to use the red stuff, but I didn't know if this was going to fit since I just kind of dangled a tape measure over the motorcycle and kept my fingers crossed. So I guess we will see. So those go through there. Is this gonna reach? I sure hope it reaches. Cool. Yeah, this looks like it'll protect the tender bits, keep that from happening before. Now there's commercially made, readily available cages or crash bars for this bike. But what those don't have, that this does have, is a skid plate. And the reason that a skid plate is extra important for me is my driveway is steeper than necessary, and I'm always scraping my exhaust. And if I come in here a little too hot, or the suspension starts to go, that little bolt holds all your oil in. I don't want to scrape that off. Fixing motorcycles is expensive, and I'd rather either spend that money on other things, and if I am spending it on the motorcycle, I'd rather spend it on making it nicer. Things like heated grips, saddlebags, which really took the brunt of the impact. Those and this kind of saved the motorcycle. This was the main damage right here. So we're not going to put this in all the way tight just yet. We want some play, I think. Let's get that other side on. Then we'll get the skid plate on and tighten everything up. Yeah, I've been really nervous the past couple days about doing wheelies and stuff after the accident, because I don't want to have those repair bills again. And the shop that I took it to did a really good job of getting everything fixed. And they were really great, nice people. But it costed money that I didn't want to spend. And it took a long time for the parts to come in. And that's one of the reasons I was reluctant to buy a Yamaha again. You know, with that thing and the other V-Star, anytime something went on, I had to wait. You know, and it might be with all motorcycle brands, you know. It might be a motorcycle thing. I don't know. But when it's your only means of transportation and you've got to wait for it to be fixed, the world stops. you could always rent a car. Renting motorcycles isn't a very feasible option. You know, I found you can do it. I think most Harley-Davidson places. That looks different than the other one. Interesting little sleeve in there. Most Harley-Davidson dealerships rent motorcycles, I guess. However, they charge an arm and a leg. It's like $1,000 for a week or something ridiculous like that. I don't remember how much it is exactly, but it's not cheap. It is not cheap. All right. Huh? Yeah, you're on TV. I'm gonna put you on YouTube. What? Cans and plastic. Oh, no, I don't really use a lot of cans and plastic, but when I do, I'll start putting it aside. I'll put it in like a paper bag and save it for you.
Oh, okay. Do you have any kind of corn?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll check inside later when I finish this.
Okay, then.
We want to be real careful not to cross-thread this, because I think, based on that thin aluminum that alternator cover was made out of, this is probably made out of the same crap. Which is nice because it's light, but it's fragile. And I have not had the best experience with helicoils and other things that it doesn't feel right. Are made to assist with when you make a goof with your threads. So I want to be extra careful. So we've still got a little bit of play in there. When they shipped this to me, they were kind enough to give me this nice padded foam workspace. Alright, so now, I wonder if those washers were supposed to go on here. Probably. Whatever. Now that is hot because I was just writing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this. Who's there? Don't you melt to my motorcycle now. I'm gonna grab this doodad with this here wrench shimajigger. And I'm gonna stick that there. I'm going to stick this here. I'm going to pop that through there. And abracadabra. It's probably not going to work. Oh yeah, that's hot. Let's see if we can do this without losing too much skin. And let's see if we can do this without melting these cheapo Home Depot plastic gloves to our hands. Maybe I should have put this on first. Yeah, that's hot. Is that on there? Cool. Where'd I put that blue goop? And this is why we have feet. Is this on backwards? Of course it's on backwards. Alright, so luckily we caught that before we got it completely bolted up. You know how I know it's on backwards? There's a hole right here that's supposed to go on where the oil drain plug is. Mm. So I have a cut on my finger, and I'm getting thread locker on the cut, which is not a good thing because this stuff's made with cyanide. Cyanide is poisonous. See if there's the ingredients on here. Of course not. I guess you're just gonna have to take my word for it. It's made with nasty stuff. Alright, this is the way this should go. Struggling. I think the reason I'm struggling with this so much is because that exhaust pipe is hot. And I'm trying not to melt off my fingers. Why is it not going in? Oh, there we go. Sort of. We also want to be careful not to cross-thread these. The reason I'm doing this side first is because I want this flex. There's a lot less clearance with the pipes on this side. Is that it? Alright. Now let's do the same on the other side. Not sure how much of this you guys can see. Probably end up cutting out most of it. To try not to be too boring. Oh, that was dumb. So I want these nice and tight. At the same time, I know that's aluminum. I don't know that's aluminum. I think that might be aluminum. So I want to be really careful not to rip the threads out. And I do have thread locker in there. If I was smart, what I'd do is I'd go into the manual, find out how much torque these bolts are supposed to have, and then do this with a torque wrench. But clearly I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make them tight enough, but hopefully not too tight. And I've got that blue thread locker in. Hopefully that'll help. This side is the fun side. Give me that wrench. I want it. I want it, and I don't want to mess up my pretty clear powder coating. There we go. They don't make these things like they used to. I don't know if you can see, but the blade on this side is here. On this side it's missing, but this little Torx head bolt, nut, whatever this thing is, just kind of broke. And if you saw the piece that broke off, which I did, there was just a hole right there in the middle. And you could see how thin everything was. There's not that much material holding those on. So cutting anything that's not paper thin wire isn't too much for those teeth, those little replaceable blades, but it is too much for the bolt they have holding it on, which is kind of a bummer. You see where everything kind of kicks up from the tire and hits right there? I think this might help some. Be cool if this went up a little bit more, because it's not really necessary. Let's see, I'm gonna need to get a radiator cover too. One of these dents in here and bugs and stuff. Alright, that's tight enough. Cool. And there you have it. Whoa. Yeah, that thing looks cool with that clear powder coating, man. That looks real cool. And that looks much more protected. So let's see, to give you an idea, I don't have any coins. Usually that's a good comparison, because everybody knows how thick a coin is. So I don't have any quarters. I have a key though. And if you have one of these Yamahas, you've got the same key. So if you look, this is about a bit thicker than the key. Yep. A little side-by-side comparison. It's almost twice as thick as the key. So that's some beefy stuff right there. Now this hole isn't perfectly lined up with that bolt, but I can always cut a hole in there if need be, I guess. And the gentleman who made it, I'll show him pictures and measurements and stuff, so that all of this, I'm sure, will be a bit more refined if you decide to go out and order one of these. As far as what it costs to have it made and the protection it seems like it gives you, this compared to all the other stuff on the market, this is definitely the way to go. Alright, YouTube, there you have it. Let's take some quick pictures too.